Messages by Billy Alsbrooks do cause side effects. And those side effects are champions being born, dreams being realized, the weak becoming strong.
What's up, guys? My name is Mitchell R. Tucker. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Our guest today has really had an impact on me. Certainly my 5-year-old son, Braden, who requests his content every time we get in the car. He is motivating, inspiring, and if you listen to him before you try and go to bed, I promise you, you will not sleep. Dr. Billy Alsbrooks, thank you so much for joining us.
God is good, brother. Thank you for having me on, man. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, so I joke around about not being able to sleep, but in all seriousness, a few months ago, I laid down to go to sleep, and I'm laying there, and you dropped a new YouTube video. So my wife is sleeping, so I put in some headphones. I'm like, I'm going to check this out. So I hit play, and I'm checking out this YouTube video. About 10 minutes goes by. I'm in my home office working. I can't sleep.
God is good. God is good.
Your stuff is extremely motivating, and I do appreciate it. So,
I appreciate you, brother.
I'm sure I have some viewers on here who are hearing about you for the first time. So let's give them an idea. Who is Dr. Billy Alsbrooks?
I'm a motivational artist, author of the book Blessed and Unstoppable, and God has called me to go around and help people find that greatness that's on the inside of them, man. That's my calling.
That's awesome. Where can they get that book if they're interested in checking it out?
Yeah, you can get it in blessedandunstoppable.com, man. Blessedandunstoppable.com. It's on Amazon, eBay, you name it. Everywhere you should be able to get it. It's sold in 28 countries right now, man. So
oh, wow,
the book is doing
great.
really well. I'm working on part 2 now, man. Working on 2 books at the same time. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the one coming, volume 2. And then Burning the poetry book too. Those are the next 2 coming.
Very nice.
God is good.
So you used to rap, and from what I understand, you had some success with that in the past, right?
Yeah.
So what is it that made you stop rapping? What made that transformation?
Well, I was a music artist, rapper for 17 years in the music business. Had my own radio show. I was a music producer for many gold and platinum acts. Had songs on Billboard, the whole 9, chasing the Hollywood lifestyle, man, 120. What the world calls success, the wild women, the money, the cars, the fame, all of that, man. I was heavy in it. But it seemed like no matter how far I went up in that business, as I began to climb, no matter what I did or what I accomplished, man, the hole inside me just kept getting bigger. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was feeding the flesh, I was feeding the surface, but I was lacking nourishment from my soul. Like I didn't know what was missing. And I would always say, like, if I could just get one more record on the radio, if I could just get one more song on the charts, if I could just produce one more hit, whatever, then this will calm down the noise and the turmoil on the inside would, come to peace. But it never did. It's like the more I became successful in that business, the circle got bigger, the people around me, the entourage and all that, but the true friends got less. You know what I'm saying? And I struggled with it for years, man. And finally, destiny intervened. My father died in front of me unexpectedly. He had a stroke and a blood clot that took him. And it took me by complete shock, right? It was, unexpected. He was, in good health, things like that, as far as we knew. And then 10 minutes later, man, he's gone right in front of my eyes, man.
Wow.
And it made me re-examine everything. What really got me started was going to his wake, like 2 days after he passed away, man. Everything began to start to unfold to put me on this journey that I'm doing today. The first thing that happened, I got to the funeral home and the funeral director said, let me take you out to where we're going to bury your father. See, my grandmother had bought 4 plots. She was still alive, but my grandfather was already in the ground. So he took us out there and he said, there's your grandfather there. Here's where your grandmother lay. Here's where your dad's going to lay. And here's where you're going to lay. That's what he said to me. And I saw my dad like 2 days before that, transition over into the other world. You know what I mean? So when he said, here's where you're going to lay, I knew what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Like I really had a baseline I could understand now. Yeah, a reality check is like, oh, okay, I can't really run from that. You know what I mean? Like in the music world, I was doing the whole gang, thug life, drug life, all of that type of music, man. So, death wasn't a stranger to me. Like I had, probably 20 people that I buried or went to funerals or whatever in that field, but it never really clicked. You know what I'm saying? It's like we always think, oh, that happened, to so and so. It's not gonna happen to me, And we just think we got that Superman cape on that nothing's gonna happen, man. And but seeing my dad die right in front of me, the way he did, the struggle, the last few minutes, the last breaths, all of that, I couldn't run from that anymore, man. And it really shook me. And the next part, we went from outside where the plots were. We went, back inside, and he said, "What do you want on your dad's headstone, and what do you want in his obituary?" Now, I'd never talked to my dad about these kind of things, and I just figured he was gonna live like my grandparents to be in the 80s. He died at 63, so we like 20 years ahead of time. So I started thinking about, what would dad want? But my mind was still out there by the plots, saying, here's where you gonna lay. That's all that just kept cycling in my head. Here's where you gonna lay. Here's where you gonna lay. So then I put two and two together, and I'm like, one day somebody's gonna say, what do you want on Billy's headstone? What do you want on Billy, in Billy's obituary, right? And I was like, okay, if I die right now, what would be on it? What would be on his headstone and obituary? And I wasn't too happy with that answer. I was just being real. I was like, here lies a man that served himself, didn't care about anybody, would run over anybody just to get, the next thing, the next car, the next dollar, whatever. It was just like self-serving. And man, I was really embarrassed, to be honest. I was like, if my mama read that, obituary, that would hurt me to know that's what I left. You know what I'm saying? And then 2 days after that, we were at the wake, and my dad is laid out there, and people are coming up and they're beginning to talk, about my father and what he had done. And growing up, he was an alcoholic, right? When I was in middle school, high school, he struggled. And went to every rehab, every program, every church, you name it. We tried everything, and he just, could not conquer the alcohol. But my senior year, my mother finally had enough and divorced in my senior year. And that the day he got the paperwork was the last time he ever touched a drink. So for the last 15 years of his life, he never drank, and he actually got clean and went out to, help others get off of addiction. The way, same thing he was struggling with, he helped them get off. And I didn't really know the gravity and impact that he was making. He never talked about it. Anonymous or whatever, they just don't, talk about what they're doing. And at the wake, I began to find out. So he's laid out, and the guy comes up and he's like, your dad came and got me. I was drunk on the side of the road at 2:30 in the morning. Nobody else would come get me. He saved my life. Another one said, well, your dad came and got me out of jail, bonded me out of jail at 4 o'clock in the morning when my whole family gave up on me. Everybody turned their back on me. Your daddy didn't turn his back, and I got sober and I'm clean now because of him. And another one was like, me and my wife were at the table with the divorce paperwork sitting there about to sign, and your daddy said don't do it, and we didn't do it, and we still together 10 years later, right? So like, this is the kind of stuff I was hearing, and I'm like, I was taken aback by it, because I'm thinking, nobody's mentioning at this wake anything that I've been chasing in this music game. Nobody's talking about, well, your daddy's show could make it rain at the strip club, right? Or, oh, your daddy had nice rims, or did you see your daddy's chain and watch? Like, nobody was talking about that kind of stuff, right? But this I was living and dying for every single day. So I was like, I got this backwards, bro. Ain't nobody talking about this at the end. I got my ending wrong, Yeah. So it made me seek right there. I began to say, I got to change this. Like, I got this totally wrong. Like, I'm not against money. I'm not against success, but I had it in the wrong order. You know what I'm saying? It's like our real network. What I learned from that situation is our real network is what we sow into others. That's the only thing we leave with on this earth, is what we sow into others. That's it. That's our real net worth. We either making this place that we live in, better than we found it or not. It's one or the other. Are we making problems, or we, making solutions? And I wanted to be on the other side. I was like, I don't want to leave this kind of legacy that I'm living right now. I don't want that kind of legacy, to be remembered about me. So I began on that journey to figure out, okay, how can I impact? How can I, make a difference besides just serving me? And, God wove me through the path and got me here today. But that was a long journey. I mean, it's been like, almost 12 years since he passed away. So it was a long journey to get here doing what I'm doing today, but it started right there when my father passed away.
Well, and I feel like you've definitely met your calling. I mean, I know you're impacting a whole lot more people than just me. So,
well, now I realize, for 17 years, I was behind the mic, and my goal was, I could change my life behind this mic, right?
Yeah.
Now it's behind this mic, I could change the world, which is totally different. So like, before I kind of took it like, the party lifestyle, just fun and games and all of that. Now it's like, no, there's somebody hurting on the other side of this YouTube video. There's somebody hurting on the other side of the Spotify, this iTunes that's got the headphones on, and they're going through it. This person's on the verge of suicide. This person's on the verge of divorce. This person's on the verge of bankruptcy. This person's got stage 4 cancer, and they talking about he's not going to live. This one's paraplegic, and they're saying never going to walk again. That's who I'm talking to. So now when I get behind that mic, I realize it's not a game, because these other people, they're hurting on the other side. And the way I came to understand that is I had my own struggle, my own dark years is what I call them. The way my dad died unexpectedly in front of me, it caused PTSD in me and panic attacks. Man, for 7 years, I lost everything that I had made in that music business. It was like a death by 1,000 cuts. Every day I'd get up and it'd be, these panic attacks and PTSD were taking over my life, so much so that I couldn't do anything. I started out before my dad died, I was on stage in front of 20,000 people, rocking the mic. And it got so bad, I was in a room for 2 weeks and wouldn't come out because I was scared to come out because of this PTSD and panic attacks. Everywhere I went, I'd have a panic attack. So the only thing I controlled is where I had the panic attack. So I would just lock myself up in the room, where I felt somewhat kind of safe in there, and just live through that room. And that was it. And I did this for 7 years, man. It took every single thing from me. I had all this money put up, and every day the money got less, the money got less, the money got less. And, all the people began to fall away, the fake friends, the entourage in the music business, the people that weren't there for me, just for, what I could do or provide for them. All those people began to fade into the dark or whatever. And it just came down to me, just me and God, man. I went to, every therapist I could go to. I went to programs, grief share, sat down with Christian counselors, went to churches, men's groups, you name it. I went to everything possible because this thing was, stealing my life, and nothing seemed to work at all. And I'm going like 1 year in, 2 year in, 3 year in, and it's just getting worse. And I'm beginning to think like, this is what your life is going to be now. And I got so far away from being normal and being healthy and all that. I got so far, I forgot even what it was like. I'm like, I don't remember not having panic. I don't even remember what that's like. Being able to go out and not have to worry about, health issues or whatever. I literally went to the hospital, man, 12 times in 9 months, man, thinking I was going to die. Like I ran, rushed to the hospital, rushed to the ER. I'm dying. And my mind really believed that, It got so bad, man. When I come through the door, they'd be like, "Here comes Billy." Like the nurses knew. They were like, "Here he comes." But it wasn't funny to me. In my mind, the mind had been taken over, and it was, selling me these lies like this. You're gonna end up just like your dad. You're gonna die just like your dad. And I didn't trust anything. I was in perfect health, but my mind didn't trust it, because when I saw my dad, he was in perfect health. What we thought, right? And then 10 minutes later, he gone. So I didn't trust anything the doctor told me. They said, "Oh, you're good." And I'm like, "Well, I'm good now, but 10 minutes later, I might be dead." Like this is the way my mind was thinking. And it went year by year, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth. Just terrible, man. And finally I got to the end of me, that desperation moment, man. And I just cut a deal with God. I said, I've tried everything I know how to do. I've done everything doctors told me to do. I've took medicine, therapy, you name it, courses, classes, studied all self-help books, anything you could read. I would, just immerse myself in trying to get this healing. And I told him, I was like, nothing's working. I'm at the end of me. And if everybody's gone, the money's gone, my calling's gone, I'm not even music no more. I don't even have, I'm just floating out here. And if you don't heal me, God, I'm done. Because I don't know what else to do. There's nothing else that I haven't tried. And I cut a deal with him. I was like, if you heal me, I'll go out and tell him who did it. That's all I got to give you. That's it. But that's all he needed. That's all he wanted. It was like he was just waiting for me, because, God has to have us invite him in. He's all powerful, but we still have to send him the invitation to come in, right? And that was the invitation. He'd been waiting, man. Desperation is the invitation, man. And he came in and began to work on my life. He sent me the right counselor. sent me the right people. People started coming into my life to help and support me, man. And I began to transition back to victory. Now, it wasn't an overnight victory. You know, that's what people think. Sometimes it's just like, oh, you heal one day. Like God came in my life and things began to get better, but it was every day I was having to get up and fight that battle every single day. It was like he was giving me the strength now to fight. I still had to fight. Like, it wasn't free. The victory wasn't free. I still had to fight, but he was there with me, and things began to get a little bit easier, just a little bit every day. I'd have 5 or 10 minutes of peace, right? I'm like, oh, that felt good. And then the next day I might have 15 minutes, you know, and I'd be so grateful. Like, ooh, I remember when I couldn't go a whole day like that, you know? And then it got to be where I'd have one day and I'd be so happy just to have that one day. And then next day I'd be back like I was, you know, 3 or 4 panic attacks. But it was, you know, that up and down tussle, up and down, you know, war struggle, man. And that war and that struggle I went through, man, that was just preparation though for this. Because like God made it clear to me later on in my spirit, he's like, you know, if you're going to go out and preach life the way I need you to do it with boldness and aggression and faith, if you're going to preach it like that, you must first understand death. You must get up close and see it so you know what's at stake. So you understand the people that you're going to be talking to. So when I get on this mic now, what I do is go back to myself back in that day when I was going through those struggles and nothing was getting through to me. And I speak to that person when I'm talking on the mic. And then it allows me to relate to, you know, these people that are going through the struggle, you know. And it's not really, to me, when I got into it originally, I didn't have the understanding of the call. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be talking to people that want to just be, you know, financially successful or whatever in life and about money or whatever. And when I got in there, the people that were emailing me were people, man, at the bottom, you know, the broken, the ones shattered to a million pieces. You know what I'm saying? These are, you know, the ones that facing life in prison, you know, stuff like that. These are the ones that were reaching out to me, man. And I realized, man, you know, these are the ones you're going to have to really trust God to give you the words to speak to. So, you know, when I get behind that mic now, man, it's an honor and a blessing to be called to do this, but I understand there's a great responsibility that comes with it. It's not just going on there and saying, you know, you can do it, God, you can do it. No. God has got something for each person on the other side. That person might need this one word and nobody else understand that, but that one person gets it. That one person that needs it, you know? And so I just get on that mic every day and I just yield my mouth to him. I say, Lord, take over, put the words in my mouth, and I just let him do his thing, man. So it's a much different dynamic than it was when I was doing music. I was behind the mic. I was writing instead of books. It was songs back then. So that's the same. But the gift has been wrapped in construction instead of destruction. When I was doing, you know, the gang life, it was destructive life. Now I'm doing constructive life, you know?
That's great. That's a great story. So you're obviously very passionate about what you're doing. It shows. Do you feel like you found your purpose? This is what you're supposed to do?
Oh yeah. See, you know, when I get behind the mic now, man, it's like this bomb goes off on the inside, and it's like I'm just consumed on the inside with fire. It's a good fire. You know what I mean? It's like when you get in the center of your call, and there's no drug, no high, no alcohol, no sex that can compare to what you get from being in the center of that. The energy level in you changes, man. You know, like it's like time fades away and doesn't exist. Like I don't look at the clock when I'm doing this. It's like, man, I could just get behind that mic all day because it's just so empowering and intoxicating, man, in a good way. And that's the way it'll feel when you get in your calling, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing, but whatever it is, when you get in that calling, man, it's like time doesn't exist, man. It's like I just could do this all day long. And I'm so blessed to find it because, you know, for 10 years there when my dad died, I stopped the rap game because of going through the panic attack. So it was almost like 10 years where I was floating. I didn't have a purpose. I got up every day and I'm like, okay, God, the rap days are over. What's my calling? What's my, you know, purpose to be here? And I just every single day was so frustrated, man, because I just floating. You know, getting up every day and it's like I try this and it wouldn't work, it wouldn't fit. I try something else and it looked good on the surface until I got in there and started doing it. I was like, man, I'm not really passionate about that. I bounced around so many times, and finally, my therapist said something to me one day that just really hurt me. He goes, "Man, you bounce around too much. You got to settle down and decide on what it is you want. Like pick one, you know." Mm-hmm. And it really bothered me because for 17 years in the music game, I had this one clear-cut purpose. I got up every single day, and that was it. And I used to make fun of people that didn't know they're calling and would bounce around like that. So when he said it to me, man, it really, really stung. I'm like, man, that's not me, right? But, you know, I had to go through the struggle and find myself, recreate myself, and let God do the, you know, the work on the inside to prepare me for what I'm doing today. But, man, I would never want to trade this calling. This thing is, man, I just love it. You know, I could go anywhere, anytime and do this all day and never, you know, it's like when I work 4 or 6 hours doing these seminars, I end up, by the end, I have more energy than I started with. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is when you do your calling, you get stronger as you do it. Now, when I get done and it's all over and I sit down, then it's like, okay, you left it all on the field, you know, so you're tired and exhausted. But while I'm doing it, it's like the more I do it, the stronger I get, the more that fire gets to burning, and the more intensity that builds up in me, man.
Good. So I got to ask, some of your videos are almost an hour long. How long does it take for you to come up with that kind of content? Because you're dropping videos all the time. How long does it take to put together something like that, to write all that out?
It varies, because sometimes the stuff will just come flow. You know what I mean? Like, I know it kind of like God will give me the real clear cut message and boom, it's just like it just comes. Other times, maybe outside the creative cycle, it's a little struggle to find it. So I might have pieces of it. Like I have a little piece of the message, little piece over here. And what could take 15 minutes, let's say on a YouTube video, that could be 6 hours, you know, working and studying and all this kind of stuff. It could be a lot more. Sometimes it could be 1 hour, you know, it just depends on what's going on. But I never look at the clock, man. I just get in there and I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing until I feel it's my work and my craft, and I feel like my hands are on it and that I've given my best and can make the best impact with it, man.
So we have a timeline now of how you evolved and what took place. Where did school fit in there? With Dr. Billy Alsbrooks.
Right. Okay. Around 2011, this college came to my church, this Christian college, and they were offering this college course, right, for ministry and theology. So I had never thought about being a pastor or speaking like this. I always saw myself with a mic. I'm always on stage with dancers and all that, you know? And this class came, and I was like, I don't want to be a pastor, but I'm still trying to find my healing. And the only way I'm going to be able to do it is let God show me the way through his word. So I went to school not to be a speaker, not to be a pastor, but to find my own healing, almost for selfish reasons. I'm like, you know, I'm going to church, it's not working. I'm going to therapy, it's not working. Well, maybe if I went to college, I'd have a deeper level of understanding of the word, and I could find my healing in it. So I started college in 2011, did the whole program, got the degree. And then around 2015, I was going to this men's group on Monday night, and the leader of the group was going to have to step down. He was like, hey, can you fill in, you know, this next week? Can you fill in on Monday night? And it's like an hour and a half meetup group, right? Can you teach the lesson? And he goes, I know you went to school for, you know, ministry and theology, you teach the lesson. And I was like, I don't want to speak. No, like, you know, this is before I got into this. All I could think of was like, you know, I'm going to be sitting up there for an hour and a half talking. There's no music. There's no choreography. There's no club lights. I'm not able to hide, right? There's none of that. There's no liquor, no nothing. It's just me with everybody sitting there looking. And I'm like, But I told him no originally, but he kept on. He was like, no, man, please, I need you to cover. I need you to cover. You're the only one. You're the only one. And I'm like, finally, I was like, okay, I'll do it. Well, you know, I'll do it. So it was like an hour and a half meeting. So I study about 10 hours per hour and a half that I would speak. So I put in, you know, the 10-hour work. Man, I was fired up, a little nervous. Got there that first night, and I said, the first thing I said out of my mouth, I said, God still moves, right? And it was like an explosion on the inside went off of me. It was like, boom! And I lit up, like the fire came on. It's like it'd been waiting for this moment, man, for me to find my thing. And as soon as I said it, man, it was like, bam! And it's like everybody in the room resonated, and then my mouth went unleashed, and it was like God was just like spitting fire out the whole time. I ended up speaking almost 2.5 hours. Like I thought I was gonna have a hard time going an hour and a half. I ended up speaking 2.5 hours, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. So at the time I was like, something's different. The energy level is different than when I was rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't remember ever feeling like that when I was on the mic. So I stored it in the back of my mind, but I'm like, that's not really a calling. That's not a profession. The way I was seeing professions, right? A few weeks later, he asked me to do it again. He's like, can you come do the group again? So I did it again. I did the same thing. I said 2 words out my mouth. Boom, the explosion went off on the inside. And the next thing I know, man, I'm unleashing again. And everybody's, just rocking in there. Every time I'm saying something, it's just like hitting. So I'm like, man, this is different. They coming out on a Monday night to a church. Most people don't come to church on Sunday. They coming on Monday and just staying the whole time, right? So I'm like, something's different. So, but still, it hadn't processed the whole way. But eventually, I ended up taking over the summer. It was like 13 weeks. He's like, can you do the whole summer? And I was hesitant on that because I still didn't understand who I was yet. I didn't understand my identity, right? So I took it over, did the summer. And while I was doing that summer, I wrote this book during the summer. Because I was like, I'm doing 10 hours of study each week, for the course. I'm like, what else can I do with this 10 hours? How can I, make the most of this? So all the stuff I was teaching on those Monday nights, I just put in this book, man. All the study, all the time, I just packaged up into the book. But I still did not see speaking as my profession. I still didn't see it, as the thing that I'm called to do. I thought I was just kind of doing some community work, just doing some volunteer thing at the church. But once I finished this book in 2016, it was like November. I got the book back January of 17. So I was like, man, I've been having this thing in the back of my mind about doing these motivational videos. But see, I used to listen when I was having struggles with the panic attacks. My therapist told me to listen to motivational videos. He's like, you're here with me 6 days a week. I mean, you're not with me 6 days a week. You're only in here for an hour. So those other 6 days and 23 hours, you need to be pouring something in to get you through till you see me next time. Because I was in really, really bad shape. So I would listen to these videos back then, and I resonated with them. And for some reason around 17, I was like, man, I wonder what I would sound like doing the speaking thing. So I still had all my musical equipment, everything set up still in the studio at the house. So I tested the waters with it. And I was like, man, I like this, man. I think I could do this. So I put a little video out every little week. Nobody was listening. I had like 50 followers. And most of those were all like family, mom, dad, like stepdad, everybody. So nobody was really listening. So I was just doing them because I love to do them. And I just go in there and each week I just try to put something together. But around the 7th or 8th video, I did this song on this message called Inside the Mind of a Champion. And some big motivational channels got a hold of it, grabbed it, started putting it on their channels, and it went viral. So it went, millions of plays all across on different channels, millions of plays. The crazy thing happened, the book started selling because of that. And next thing you know, the following just went through the roof and everything started, clicking. I started getting phone calls to, speak everywhere. And that evolved to a couple years later being awarded for the book and the work that I was doing in the community. They awarded me an honorary doctorate in humanities for what I've been doing, the impact that I've been making with the kids in prisons and things like that. So that was a really, really big honor for me to be able to receive that, man. But it was a long struggle, a long discovery. Like people think a lot of times you just figure out who you are and that's it. Like me, it wasn't like that. It was like piece by piece. And I had, started with nothing, like no clarity of who I was. And I'd had just like this one little piece in my life. And I'd have to be a good steward of that one little piece. And if I was a good steward of that, I'd get the next piece. Yeah. It's kind of like a puzzle. You got this one little piece. You got 500 pieces in a puzzle. And you only got one piece. You got to figure that out. And I did that step by step. And he began to, bring me the next piece, the next piece, the next piece. And the next, before you know it, I was like, okay, I know who I am now. You know what I'm saying? And once you truly know your identity and who you are and what you're here for and that it's your calling, man, you vibrate at a totally different frequency, that allows you to break through where others can't. And it allows you to go to new heights and do things that, the common people, struggle with every single day. And inside the calling, all things are possible. Outside the calling, everything is a struggle. Like, even though I was doing music and was, very, very successful in it, it was still a constant struggle. This thing I got in, there's life struggles, but in my calling, man, there's no struggle. I just love it. You know what I mean? So the key is finding what it is that, God has called you to do, man, and getting in the center of that thing and letting him use you however, he wants to do it. And once you do, there's no better joy, no better call, and no better, better high than that. I'm telling you.
That's great. So if you had to give your elevator pitch, your 30 seconds to help someone that's struggling in the way that you were struggling back in the day, maybe they're not doing with the gang thing, maybe they're having marriage issues or drug issues or alcohol abuse, whatever it may be. If you had to tell them, if you had to give one bit of advice, what would you recommend to them right now?
First thing, it all starts with God, man. I bring it to him because, I tried everything on my own. It don't work. So bring your problem first to God. And then the second thing is you got to get a vision for the victory. Now, whether it's finances, whether it's a marriage, whether it's your calling, whatever it is, you got to be able to see what you want here first. You build it here. This is where the blueprint is made. Let's say, for instance, the health issue with my panic attacks. And I told the same thing to a guy earlier today with cancer. You have to see yourself completely healed in all your senses. You have to be able to see it with your mind, your body. You have to feel the way you would feel with the cancer being gone. You have to be able to taste your taste buds, how everything is perfect again. Your senses, your skin, every single part of your existence needs to vibrate and be filled and connected to the way you want to become. You have to lock that in. And what you do is you close your eyes, you imagine the victory, you plant your feet there, you pack your U-Haul up, you move everything you own, everything you know, and you move it to that new victory place. You move into the place, you plant your feet there, and when you open your eyes, you stay in the victory that you have dreamed. You've got to plant your feet so deep in the ground and in the roots that when you open your eyes back up, you can't be yoked back to defeat. You know what I'm saying? You have to get it here. And whatever you can get here in your mind, whatever you can envision clear enough and long enough, you can achieve, you can become, you can do. So the main thing is getting it here, because the word says where there is no vision, the people perish. That's the same thing with a marriage, a business, finances, calling, whatever it is. If there's no vision, there's going to be suffer, there's going to be struggle. So first you got to build the victory here and then begin to get up every single day and move toward that thing that you see here.
That's great. Dr. Billy Alsbrooks, thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate it. Thank you for your time, sir.
Man, thank you for having me on, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. When we get back and all the world gets back to normal, we'll have to do it in person sometime.
Oh, let's do it, brother. Let's do it. Take care, man. God bless you, bro.
You too, man. Take care.